Hi friends, hello. This is Marina Shepelsky coming to you live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Just gonna give a few moments to everyone to join. I have this really cute filter on Instagram going. I'm gonna double check if people can see me on Facebook, just to be sure. Just gonna say hello to everyone. It's a really good day in New Jersey today because I'm alive. That's why it's a good day. The weather is a little weird, but whatever. It is what it is. Okay, I'm going to start to kind of slip into introduction, telling you guys what I do. We'll get to the news in a few minutes once I see more people have joined. So just about myself, I'm an American immigration attorney, but I'm an immigrant too. I came to the U.S. when I was 12, and that was in 1989 with my family. I'm an only child, so I just came here with my mom and dad. I don't have brothers and sisters, and my grandmother came with us. We had a very small family. My grandparents on my dad's side died a long time ago, so it was just me, my parents, and my maternal grandma. We settled in Brooklyn. It was a tough time, like for any other immigrants, to adjust. I did speak some English in the beginning when we just came here, but it was really tough because I didn't understand the American accent, and I didn't grow up here. I didn't understand a lot of things. And then I went to school, and that was tough too, but we survived. And eventually I went to college here, I went to law school, and I really started to love this job. This immigration law, niche for me felt really good and right. So with time, I really got into it, and we grew. We're great at immigration. We're very good at figuring out the most complicated cases. We now have a group of attorneys that work with me. We have a whole group and paralegals and other legal assistants. We have a great team, and we work from different states. So some of our team is in Texas, North Carolina, some are in New York. Some people work with us from Ukraine, believe it or not, remotely, and some from here. So let's get right into it. I'm going to just ask my phone to not disturb me. Turn on do not disturb. Okay, so my phone is on so that Instagram doesn't get interrupted. All right. Okay, so the big news yesterday, President Biden's administration announced that they're making a new restriction at the U.S. border for people entering, saying that if you traveled through other countries on the way to Mexico and you're asking for asylum, you won't be able to get in because you could have asked for asylum at that other country, the transit country. Now, I'm just going to remind you that Trump tried to do this rule, this third country transit ban, and federal court said no to Trump. Federal court said that you shouldn't do this. I'm just going to try to turn off the Wi-Fi here. It's not working so well at the moment, so that my Instagram gets better. Okay, so I'm back on Instagram. I'm just gonna start saying hello. So Indira Ramsaran says hi. Mrs. Imran says hi. Porfirio Diaz says buenos dias, hermosa, which in Spanish means good day, beautiful. Thank you. I know enough Spanish to know that. Nixon said, good morning, and he's asking about VAWA. I will come back to that. And you feel free, guys, to ask your questions in the comments. I'm going to go through the news, and I will begin answering your questions, all right? All right, so what else is in the news? Okay, I talked about the new asylum restriction announced by the Biden administration, which is pretty much a third country transit ban. If you travel through third countries, you will not be able to enter at the border because they will say that you should have asked for asylum in that third country. And this begins when Title 42 ends. And Title 42 is going to be ending very soon. Another thing that's actually good, that wasn't so good, right? But a good thing that was announced, that children whose parents are in the US with the kids and the time came for them to file for their green card because the visa bulletin shows that the visas for their priority date, their filing date, is current. For some kids, if they aged out while waiting for the priority date to become current, right, they can use the earlier chart with the dates that are more to the earlier dates, and their age will be frozen as of that date. So this is pretty complicated, but basically, if your kids aged out recently when filing for a green card, they can now file for the green card, and USCIS is willing to take your motions to reopen, your appeals, basically. You can appeal the denial if your kid aged out recently. And look, if they aged out 10 years ago, it's not the case here. But if they aged out and they were short of maybe 2 years, year and a half, so that might work now, and you can ask to reopen their case. It seems like this is only for people applying for adjustment of status, green card inside US, not outside, but US inside. So that's an update to the Child Status Protection Act. And actually, they're saying that more than 200,000 children of temporary visa holders who grew up in these states are at risk of losing their legal status when they turn 21 years old. So if those kids didn't apply for some other visa and aged out, now they will be able to freeze their age looking at a different earlier chart on the visa bulletin. Okay? So listen, bottom line, get an attorney. If you have kids who aged out, have an attorney assess your chances. Azizul 871 asks if he can meet me physically for me to process his EB3 file. I will be happy to. Give us a call at the office. Our phone number is 718-769-6352. And you can call for a physical consultation. We do physical consultations in person, and we can take a look at your file. And if anyone else has had mistakes in their file, has had prior denials, we can take a look and see if we can help you with something. If something can be changed, if something has changed that affects you personally. So give us a call. I don't know, the lighting today is freaking terrible in my office here, that I'm doing this show with lighting that's so poor. I hate working in the basement here, but it is what it is. Okay, it's just terrible lighting. I can't. Anyway, let me start to kind of go through the news, and then I will start answering your questions. What else? So in February, we have statistics that the immigrant visa backlog increased by 5.6%, almost 6% increase of backlogs, delays on visas. So there's a lot of people who already had documentarily complete cases. So their case was taken in by NVC and everything is ready, but they're still not getting interviews. And the number of cases who NVC collected everything for, but they're still waiting for their interview, have grown this month by 5.6%. So instead of the delays getting less, it seems like they're getting more. Okay, guys? I don't know. This is really bad news, but it is what it is. What else can I add? Okay, well, the Department of Homeland Security had to hire a New York-based law firm outside of itself to defend Secretary of Department of Homeland Security Mayorkas against potential impeachment. So people, I guess, on the Republican side are talking about impeaching Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas because he's been doing things to help the immigrants and making it a little easier for immigrants. And they're saying that his handling of the crisis at the southern border is bad. The law firm represented before the Democrat-controlled House during impeachment hearings against former President Donald Trump. So they have experience with impeachment hearings. A new poll, like a survey done on Americans, said that less Americans are now supporting immigration. So the public support by non-immigrants in America is falling. The number of American people who support immigration has fallen by 6 percentage points over the last year, from 34% in January 2022 to 28% in last month, according to a new FAIR Gallup poll. So this support number is the lowest number in a decade. Although it's still not the lowest level of satisfaction, the lowest was in 2007. And the American support of immigration in 2007 dropped to 23%, compared to it increasing by 2018 by 41%. So in 2018, 41% of Americans were supporting reforms, better immigration stuff, right? As of right now, only 28% support it. This means that all those people who ask me about the immigration reform passing, it's probably not going to pass because there's very few people supporting immigration improvement right now. All right, and I think for the news, that's all that I want to discuss. I want to talk a few words about VAWA. I got a letter from USCIS VAWA unit about one case yesterday. They're really focusing on people's prior divorces. So if you were married to a US citizen and you want to file for an abuse-based case against against them through immigration by yourself, that's called VAWA. When you self-petition for yourself, married to a US citizen or green card holder, and being abused by that sponsor spouse. They never sponsored you, they hate you, they call you bad names, it's a bad relationship, maybe you're even getting divorced, right? So the I-360 VAWA is a good case, but you still have to prove that this was a real marriage, even legally. So if your divorce from your first marriage is weird or fishy or like not translated properly, or maybe you didn't put it down in the forms, they're really jumping on that. And I've seen a lot of letters from them lately, really questioning people's divorces from prior spouses. If you have an American divorce in some court in the United States, you should make sure to get a copy with a seal on it, a certified copy, and provide that. If it's from another country, they're really jumping on those and not believing them, frankly. So that's like one tip I have today. Make sure that your divorce from a prior marriage is good. It's an original that you have with a stamp, and you have a good English translation, because they really focus on it. Let me get into the questions right now. I'm just going to wave to some people on Instagram. Thank you for watching Instagram. Okay, Bosco Terry Souza says, I have already filed for VAWA. Here's a VAWA question. And I have already received the prima facie determination. That means they looked at it, and on the surface, it looks good. But I'm in removal proceedings, and I also got married with a U.S. citizen spouse. What will happen next? I'm not sure if you're talking about the same spouse that you filed for VAWA. But what we do, if somebody like yourself has removal proceedings and files for VAWA, is we'll let the court know about the VAWA, and we ask them to freeze your case until the VAWA is determined. VAWA right now takes a little less than 3 years, almost 3 years to be approved. So the court should be frozen. They should administratively close your case, and then when you win VAWA, we go back to court and we make a motion to reopen and like close out, cancel your deportation, and then file for a green card. Porfirio Diaz says, if he has advanced parole, can he travel alone? Absolutely. Absolutely. Feel free to travel if you have unexpired, valid advanced parole. Okay. Nixon says, good morning. What month and year are VAWA being worked on? They're now taking about 32 months to work on VAWA. So if we are in February 2023, we are talking about December 2019 they're working on. Okay? December 2019. Mrs. Imran says, is USCIS waiving the marriage-based green cards with the within the US with the first interview? Okay, this is really good news. So USCIS updated their website and they said, look, when you file for a marriage-based green card, make sure to include in your package proofs of the marriage. And we're talking about bills in 2 names, travel in 2 names, leases in 2 names, joint bank statements that show you're using that account, joint leases, deeds, anything like you're flying together, any proof that you're together. They will try to waive interviews for most people that can prove that they're married with the paperwork they submit. So make sure you put in a medical and the joint documents right in your packet. Lol Amyumia says on Instagram, hello, did you hear anything about such situations where people after US tourist visa moved out from the US, then took the United for Ukraine program and came back to the US and got banned? CBP didn't allow them to cross the border. I did hear that. Yes, that happens sometimes. That does happen. I have heard such things. Listen, CBP, the officers in the airport, can ban people for all kinds of reasons, and they don't have to really explain themselves. By the way, if you've had an unfair ban, we just recently did a motion for somebody from Israel who came on a tourist visa. He got turned around and removed right in the airport because they tried to force him to admit that he worked in the US, and he didn't. So we made a motion to get his removal canceled. So he no longer has that deportation on his record, and he can come back with an immigrant visa or another tourist visa. So if you've had that situation, we do make motions when it's fair, like when it's not, it wasn't fair that they deported you in the airport. When it's not right, we can make a motion and undo that for you. Okay, I answered that. What is EOIR, case pending, means? EOR is the court case. If it's pending, it means they haven't scheduled you. They will, but they have not yet scheduled you for a hearing or a decision. Porfirio says, I have low priority removal from 2 years ago. Can I apply for I-485 and have advanced parole? Can I travel alone to Mexico, or do I have to take someone with me? I don't understand when you say you have low priority removal 2 years ago. Does that mean that you had a deportation from 2 years ago? Because if you did, you should not travel on advanced parole. But if it was reopened and you received your advanced parole now, it doesn't matter if you go alone with someone else, the advanced parole. It doesn't matter who you travel with, really. The rule is as follows. If you have a judge who signed an order of removal, you should not ask for advanced parole or leave even if you get the advanced parole. You will not be allowed back. Galina Grannon says, hi, Marina, I have a question for you. I'm a U.S. citizen. I want to bring myself, a daughter, and my granddaughter by Uniting for Ukraine, but do not have enough money to be a sponsor. Could I have a second sponsor as a co-sponsor? Absolutely, Galina. You can have a sponsor who's not you as a sponsor. It works. Mr. Mohit says, how long time for work permit with WAWA petition? Depending on which service center is processing it, right? I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you USCIS processing times, right? And I'm going to show you the work permit you want to see. So I'm going to show you how to look. So I'm going to share my screen with you. You can see what I'm doing. I'm looking for form I-765. I look for the form category. If you did VAWA, it's based on C09. So I go to C09 right here. And then let's say you're in California Service Center. You can look at your work authorization receipt notice, the confirmation when they received it, and see which service center they have it in. If it's in California, it takes 21 months for you to get your work permit. If you are in the National Benefits Center instead, it's taken them 10 months, a lot less time. And if you are in Texas, this is the service center. It doesn't matter where you live, but the service center working on your case determines how long it takes. 15 months you have to wait if you are in Texas. And finally, if your work permit is processed in the Vermont Service Center, it is taking 13 and a half months. So I hope you understand that that's how long it takes. And look at your receipt notice. Okay, I answered that. Nazima Panjwani says, how long does it take to get a work? Okay, I just answered that Nazima. Literally, I just showed on the screen how to check how long it will take. Okay. Same question from Instagram from Lol Mia. Is it because they travel to Mexico or Canada but not Ukraine itself? It's hard to say why they get denied at the border. They get denied for various reasons, but mainly I think if you were in US, they with a tourist visa, they probably have doubts about why you come back with Uniting for Ukraine and you'll stay here, never leave. I don't know what they're thinking, honestly. Okay, CJ Johnson says, hi, after my I-130 petition case is approved based on the marriage, how long will the process to reopen my 30 years old deportation case take? Okay, once the marriage petition is approved, the next step is to make a motion to the court. Sometimes we start with the trial attorney. We say, hey, trial attorney, will you join us in reopening this case? Let's not fight about it. He deserves to be reopened, right? That might take 6 months to a year. It depends where your case was, if you made other motions, and it's in the BIA or is it with the immigration court. It's going to take a couple of years for sure, from the beginning to end. If I had to guesstimate, 2 years for sure, I can say. Mrs. Imran says, the evidence that we started dating or 2 years. I don't know what the question is, Mrs. Imran. Trying to find the question. Yes, so for people who are hoping to get a waiver of the interview for marriage-based cases, you can include the evidence that you started dating 2 years ago. It will make your case stronger, absolutely. Passy Big says, can you apply for a refugee travel document just after your asylum case was granted by immigration judge. I would first wait for the USCIS letter that your case of asylum is approved and then apply. That's what I usually tell my clients. Ken OD says, hi Marina, I passed my naturalization interview. I don't remember being told to send my passport photo for my N400 application. Do I need to send one now? And my second question is, how long does the name change take? Okay, Ken, if they didn't ask for it, do not send anything. If they need it, they will tell you, we need your passport photo, number one. And they take your photo now when you do biometrics. So maybe they don't need it from you. They have taken your picture when you went and did your fingerprints. How long the name change will take, they give you the name change petition order. So the order from the court approving your name change with your naturalization certificate. So how long it takes depends on where you are, where you live. Some places it takes 30 days to do that. Some places it takes 2 months. And I'm talking about 2 months to schedule your oath ceremony. You should get your name change at your oath ceremony. It shouldn't slow you down too much, honestly. Mr. Mohit says, thank you. Porforio says that USCIS sent him a letter 2 years ago that because his VAWA expired. Okay, you have a lot of very good questions, Porforio. We invite you to text us for a consultation or call us. The number on YouTube you can see on your screen. The phone number for us is 718-769-6352 for a consultation. Call us. You have a complex situation. I'm not going to be able to answer this and give you legal advice in a show. This is educational. It's not meant to give legal advice. After your asylum case was granted by an immigration judge, will they forgive your misrepresentation? I came to US with someone else's passport. Yes, that's forgiven. But remember, every time you apply for a green card, for refugee travel passport, or in the future for US citizenship, you should always mention the other name, how you came with somebody else's passport. Because if you hide it in the future, they might consider that misrepresentation. Okay, what is the chance to get approved for asylum at the interview with USCIS in California? The chance for people from Ukraine, because I think this lady is from Ukraine, is pretty good. It's about 50-50. Most other people, your chance of getting approved at the interview is about 12%. Okay. Mrs. Imran says thank you. Ken OD says thank you, Marina. Passy Big says thank you, Marina. You're very welcome. I'm glad that I can answer these questions. And for Porfirio Diaz, please call our office for an in-depth consultation. We love to consult people and find ways for them to solve their most difficult immigration problems. This is exactly what we do. So if you have a complicated situation, I appreciate you asking me here. Sometimes I can answer, but not all the time. Sometimes you got to just call our office for a consultation. Some people are asking to join me. I don't know if I'm open to that, to join my show. It's going to be a lot of work for me, and then to leave, I don't know how to do that after. Sorry. Okay, Mr. Mohit says, my attorney just filed a VAWA I-360 for me, and I said 65, but not the 485. Is that okay? That's okay, but then you're going to have to wait, once your VAWA is approved, you're going to have to wait longer for the green card, number one, but also if there's no I-485, then your work permit through VAWA alone without the I-485 will take 3 years, because you asked me before, how long does it take? Now that I know you did not file the I-485, it's going to take you 3 years. For people who do file the I-485, it takes between a year to 20 months. as you saw me showing you from the different processing centers. What else did I want to mention today? If you guys missed the beginning of the show, because I see a lot of new people just joined, the big immigration news is that there's going to be a new restriction at the U.S. border for people for asking for asylum. And if you passed through other countries on your way to America, then you will get denied at the border for asylum. They're trying to reduce the number of people coming in through the border. They already did that by making an app for people who are filing for asylum, CBP1. So now you have to file for asylum online through the app with a sponsor. And now they're going to reduce them even more by requiring that if you passed transit through other countries on the way to America to get to Mexico, you had to have asked there. And if you didn't, that's your problem. They're not going to let you in. That's a new law that came out, and they're going to start using it as soon as the Title 42 ends. And the lady from Ukraine says, thank you, Marina. I wanted to say a few words about Ukraine because I know most people here are not from Ukraine, but now a lot of Ukrainian people starting to watch the English-speaking show too because they are English-speaking. It's almost 1 year. It's going to be a year and 2 days that Ukraine has had to go through the most terrible time in its history. I don't even think that being occupied during World War II was as bad by the Germans, by the Nazis, for the whole country, I mean, as it is right now. However, thank God the whole world supports Ukraine. We have seen so much suffering. I'm from Ukraine, as you see, I'm wearing my pin today to show my solidarity with Ukraine. I really don't know what to say. This is so terrible. Thank God there's this new program called Uniting for Ukraine. It's still open. So if anybody's watching me from Ukraine, you guys can come in through Uniting for Ukraine. It's a program where you get humanitarian parole and can live in the US safely for 2 years with a work permit, with a social, with medical insurance, and you can be much safer. Also, once you come in here, you might think about filing for asylum. We talk in the show a lot about filing for asylum. You don't really need to show that you have changed your religion or you were gay in Ukraine. It's enough that your country is being occupied by Russia to file for asylum. If you're also from Ukraine and you were already in the States as of April 11, 2022, you can get TPS. Also for other people and watching from other countries, if you're from Nepal, if you're from, let me read you all the TPS countries, right? TPS. So again, I'm going to show you the countries that if you're from there, you can get TPS. Right here is the list of the countries. Countries designated for temporary protected status. Afghanistan, Burma, Myanmar, Cameroon. That's a new one. Cameroon was just added a few months ago. El Salvador, Ethiopia, Haiti, Honduras, Nepal, Nicaragua, Somalia, South Sudan, Sudan, Syria, Ukraine, Venezuela, and Yemen. If you're from these countries, you can get TPS and talk to a lawyer to see the dates when you had to be here to be eligible. But they keep renewing these, and I'm hoping that the Ukrainian TPS will be renewed many times, just like all the other countries that you guys are seeing on your screens. Okay, I have one last question from Mani Kumar. He says, my VAWA has been pending for 573 days. When can I expect my next update? I do already have my second prima facie from USCIS. VAWA is taking 32 months at the moment. Again, I'm just going to show you. Where do I get my information from? It's not just from my brain. I have a reason for saying what I say. So this is what I do. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. If you're watching me on YouTube and people on Instagram, I invite you to watch me on YouTube. You will see my screen and I show you where I check. So I go to USCIS. Then I go to check case processing times. I choose form I-360 and then I say VAWA is my category and the only time that it's being processed, the only place it's being processed is at the Vermont Service Center. So I click on that. And it shows that the Vermont Service Center is the only place that's processing VAWA. It's taking 32 and a half months. So from the date you filed, you should expect to wait 32 and a half months. Mani Kumar says, thank you very much. I hope this was helpful to you guys. I think I'm going to just say a few more words, and in about 5 minutes, I will be logging off. If you filed for asylum after 1 year of waiting for a green card, right? So you have to get asylum and then wait 1 year. When you had a full 365 days of having granted asylum, approved asylum status, you file for a green card. Now, in addition to waiting a whole year after granted asylum, you also have to show at the time you have your green card interview that you had a whole year of physical presence. So they're now going to count the 1 year of physical presence in the United States, not as of the cutoff date of that 1 year that you had your status, but as of the date of the interview, which means if you had asylum for a year, but you traveled, you left US for 2-3 months, and then you came back, and then you traveled again, they will count the 1 year physical presence that you were here, not through that 1 year cutoff that you had to have the status to even apply, but through the date of interview, which could be 3 years later. And just to anticipate the question from you guys, hey, Marina, now that I've had asylum for 1 year, how long does it take for me to get a green card? So if you file for a green card, that means you file form I-485. And you will be here in based on grant of asylum more than 1 year ago. And if you're in Nebraska, you filed for a green card as asylee, your wait will be 37 months. So of course, during those 37 months, you will be able to complete the 1 year physical presence. And if you are in the Texas Service Center waiting for your green card, having asylum 1 year or more, you're waiting 36 and a half. So about 37 months, which is more than 3 years that people have to wait to get a green card after having their asylum granted. The good news is that while you're waiting, you can travel. You can leave the United States while you're waiting. You will need to file for the I-131 refugee travel document. And then you can travel anywhere in the world except your home country. If you travel to your home country while you're waiting for asylum, or even when you get that green card, that means you don't have the fear of coming back to your home country. If you're not afraid to go back to your home country, you will lose your green card, you will lose your asylum status, and they will find out when you file for citizenship. That's when they're going to look at you and say, hey, you went back to your home country. Mr. Mohit says, how long does it take to get a prima facie when you file for a VAWA? Sometimes a month, sometimes 2 months, sometimes a little less. Nazima Panjwani says, hi, if I file for a U visa and you get PD, how long does the U visa take? 6 years right now. Again, I'm just going to share my screen with you. Okay, processing times for U visa. U visa is I-918, petition for U non-immigrant status. Okay? There's only Vermont and Nebraska. If you're waiting for U visa through Nebraska, it is taking 60 months. 60 months. Okay? That's like, I don't know how many years is that. How many years is 60 months? Well, that's how long it takes. And then Vermont Service Center, 5 years, right? Vermont Service Center says it's taking 59.5 months for the U visa. So, where's my calculator? Oh my God, I can't do this right now by my brain. My brain hurts. 60 months divided into 12, 6 into 12. 5 full years it takes. 5 years. Okay. So that's that for U visa question. And Real Good Gal or Good Gal on Instagram says, I filed for VAWA with abeyance for 9 weeks and no receipt. That happens. VAWA is delayed in giving receipts right now. So be patient and just give it a little more time. On this note, I end my show. Thank you so much for watching. People on YouTube, you can go back and rewatch it from the beginning. People on Instagram, my whole live will be on YouTube. Find me. And on YouTube, we are Marina Shepelsky. You can find me by name. You can give us a call if you need a consultation. 718-769-6352. And you can also text us for a consultation at 718-215-9447. Have a great week. I'll see you.